mountain. He is the oracle of all things that we need to know in the world of sport. He is Damien. He is Damien McCullough. He is of Armagh blood and proud of it, and he's with me in studio this morning. I am County Down. I am Rowan Hand. He is Armagh. He is Damien McCullough. This is the morning show out of Destination Newry.
Oh, that was very good.
How are you?
I'm not so bad. How are you?
I'm very, very well. I think I am. That's as much as anyone can say. We had a terrible accident on the road yesterday.
Yeah, see that. Very sad. Very sad.
Very, very sad. And it can happen like that, you know. It's so terrible. But we're here to talk. No bad thing that we nod in the direction of tragedy when it occurs in our community, but we move on to sport necessarily because that is your great expertise and your great love. Where are you taking me this morning?
Well, I'm going to take you to the 5 band players and the fine after the Armagh Cavan game. And you know, I understand, and I'm not supporting or backing Armagh by any stretch of the imagination. What happened last week was wrong, right? But in the scale of a row or a fight, it's about a 2 out of a 10.
Head of the GAA in that column in the Irish News this morning is saying it was disgraceful, it was unacceptable, it gets the GAA a terribly bad name. That's not 2 out of 10.
Well, you see, it's been a wee bit hypocritical because a couple of years ago, the statement.
Oh, the statement, I see.
2 years ago or 3 years ago, Tyrone and Dublin fought in Omagh, and it was a vicious attack on players. It was horrible, it was horrendous. In relation to what happened in Armagh last week, there's no comparison, absolutely none. Now, I do know that the authorities have to act, and I'm looking at a picture of Brenton Donachie that has been given a 1-match ban, and Brenton Donachie's got a cut over the top of his eye. Brenton Donachie was battered last week, and obviously if somebody's coming in to hit you, you have to defend yourself. Looking back in some of the videos and looking back at some of the pictures, I mean, how they picked these 3 guys out. Obviously, we all know about Dunn and his broken hand, and obviously Dunn got his hand broke when he punched an Armagh man on the head, and that's quite, you know, that's quite clearly seen on the video. Now, if his hand's out, if he's out and he's broken hand, he's suspended for a match, it's ludicrous. So the other thing then is you have to look at, is it fair? So it's not, so Armagh will appeal that. They will look for hearings and that, and they will go back at them, and they will use all their expertise to try and defend the players.
Can I ask you about, you know, irrespective of who's been put off, and I like you, I don't know how they could single out 5. Don't understand that. The notion of 15 players on the field basically taking the law into their own hands and doing what they want to do on the field, well, to the extent that they're embarrassing the GAA. Who is ultimately responsible for that? Surely it's the managers who don't put sufficient discipline and manners into the players to ensure they won't do that.
But you've got to realise that you've got 2 teams hyped to the high heavens. They've trained maybe 10 weeks for this particular game because all the emphasis has been on this one game, and they're like, you know, you see, I have an issue about the band in this because I believe that there's no call for a parade round the field. Now you put 15 guys
because it wasn't a final.
No, but
so why do they have a band?
Well, you know, because it's tradition. And we know what it's like in this country with bands and traditions. I just think
bands and flags.
Yeah, you know, it maybe adds to it, but then a wee bit of me says to me, it's outdated, it's old-fashioned. And what I think they should be doing is the band can walk around and do whatever they want. The 2 teams, they can always do what they do in other places. You go and you stand in your whatever side you're going to, and then you stand for the national anthem or whatever. Bottom line is, you put 30 guys like within this distance of each other, and everybody's psyched up, but it just takes one thing to just spark the thing. They're like, you know, again, gladiators. The band going around it. Is this going to be like, you know, the gladiators coming into the?
If I accept your argument here, and I certainly respect it because you're a very learned man in these matters, but this is actually a license to kill if they want to. That they're psyched up. They're at the very edge of their nervousness. If the slightest thing goes wrong, let's hammer the living daylights out of the other, and that's okay.
No, it's not okay. But you see, you're around longer than me, and you have seen a whole lot more games.
I knew you would get back at me. You see the way he did that.
You have seen a lot of games, and I know. You see, like the media are there to report what's going on, but sometimes I just think, if this was a fully out war as you described it.
I'm saying it could be.
But it wasn't.
Using your logic.
No, but what I'm saying, I'm using an analogy here. It wasn't. It was more, and if the younger folk out there would be watching WWF, this was more akin to WWF.
What's WWF?
World Wrestling Federation stuff.
Oh, yes.
These high-star athletes, in brackets, get millions of pounds for, doing John Wayne stunts. So, again, Rowan, I just think, yes, absolutely, they're entitled to take action. I don't like the idea of fining the counties €5,000 each, because I know from an Armagh point of view, money's hard to get. And with this £5,000 fine, Armagh then, where does that come from? That comes from the clubs, and the clubs are struggling right across the board. But the GA have to take action.
Which is an ultimate, if I'm turning the argument around, with taking the money off the clubs, that's the ultimate abuse of children. I argue that the abuse of the children on the field was that they were subjected to close contact with the row. But ultimately, if the money is taken from the clubs and the children are unable to participate in games, or to a lesser extent, then that's an awfulness.
So obviously then you're talking about the band members on the
band members, the youngsters.
Well, the bottom line is, Ron, they shouldn't have been there. Youngsters shouldn't have been on the field.
But then someone in the GAA needs to take responsibility for that.
But
someone sent a letter, "Dear Mr. Bandsman of the Scouts, we would love your Scout band to lead our..." And the Scout people will assume that it's all okay, there's no problem, that the children will not witness anything terrible.
Look, what I tell you, again, I keep referring back, in the scale of 1 to 10, I said a 2, I'm thinking I'm back about a 1.5 here, right? Bottom line is, Armagh will appeal it. I'm not sure if Cavan appeal it, because there's no point in appealing Dunn's, because Dunn's out he's out for a month anyway. And I don't know about the other guy. I know Armagh will appeal it, that's for sure. And they'll have to do it. They'll have to do it. How they can pick these 5 guys out of something that happened is beyond me. But of course, that's how the GA do things,
Lead me on, O great Jehovah.
Well, there is other games on at the weekend, and of course, Kildare play Carlow in the Leinster Championship.
I'm very impressed with what you're doing there, because you're using electronic media.
I am, because it's just the iPhone. Westmeath versus Kildare in the football. Dublin versus Wexford in the hurling. That's on Sky. Now that's another debate. That should be a good game. Waterford play Clare. And then Sunday, Monaghan versus Tyrone, which is the big one. And you think last week was tough. What do you see this week?
Really?
Yeah. Don't think there'll be any rows, because everybody...
because they learnt the lesson.
They learnt the lesson. And of course, that's what it's all about. Carlow versus Meath in the football, and Cork versus hurling. Clare and Cork in the hurling. That is the game of the week. Trust me on this.
Clare and Cork.
Look, the All-Ireland final last year, the last point in the first match. Donovan O'Donnell coming up the field.
Donovan O'Donnell. Hi, my name is O'Donnell. Donovan, nice to meet you.
But that man will live on what he done last year forever, because he came up under the Hogan stand. The game was over. Cork should have won. The game should have been over. Ron, trust me on this. And up comes O'Donovan, who I don't know if he ever scored a point in his life. And the slither is given out to him, and he looks up and he just hits this unmerciful point, and the place went nuts. Jimmy Barry Murphy sunk his knees in despair. Davy Fitz went ballistic. They went to the replay, and then Clare won the replay. The bottom line was, Rowan, Cork should have won that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't over until the referee blew the whistle. So
I could just sit with sangria listening to you all day on the crackling radio, coming out of Croke Park, and me on the Costa somewhere, and you reporting Jimmy Barry Murphy and Donovan O'Donnell, blah blah blah. It's all great.
But Rowan, there's guys in Brazil at the minute getting £200,000 a week to do something that is easy to them. These guys are getting nothing, and for the glory And like, I don't know Donovan O'Donnell. I've never seen him.
But you'll remember him.
Well, of course you will, because you know, I'm sure you remember the great Brazilian team: Socrates, Zico.
I remember
all those great
Pele.
names.
That's the one I know. Socrates wasn't Brazilian. He was ancient Greece. He was a philosopher.
He was a great philosopher, and many of great quotes that he put out in the ether. But Socrates, the footballer,
I'll tell you what he never said. I'll tell you what Socrates, the philosopher, never said. That your man was like a bumblebee in a jam jar.
That's fair enough.
But this is Damien's big quote. I loved it.
You see, the 1982 team for Brazil, to me, were probably the best. And they talk about the 1970s and they talk about the Pelés and all that. To me, the 82 team was the greatest team that I watched. They played with an innocence. They played with an innocence that cost them the World Cup title. They should have defended slightly better. But these guys, it wasn't about defending. It was about playing, and as they called it then, the beautiful game. Now this takes me back to last night, where Croatia and Brazil started. Now I thought the opening ceremony was ropey enough.
Yeah.
But I can tell you one thing.
What did you think of the stun grenades and the CS gas?
Well, you know, that's, you know, the question has to be asked, like, you know, if the country, like maybe $2 or $3 billion to build the stadiums and all that, would it be better served helping the people? Of course it would, but unfortunately...
Maybe this will indirectly help the people.
Well, hopefully it will.
Things will flow from it.
Hopefully
my major concern about listening to the opening before it, that this stand was run right to the wire to get it ready, and that it had never been tested with a full capacity audience in there.
But
that was dodgy big stuff.
They got there,
yeah,
and they got it.
In the days after the monorail went down, my God.
You know, you see, Brazil's a strange country, and it's a diverse country, and it's a massive country. You know, so like when we talked about the football, the 82 team, just Socrates, and there was a story going about that he played an All-Ireland final and all that, he had an All-Ireland medal, you know, and I will never dispel that, you know.
Why would you?
But I do know he was in Dublin for a semester in one of the colleges, so to me that's good enough for me. I will still live with that dream that he did play Gaelic football, because he would have been like me.
But you're like Socrates.
Sweet
suffering God Almighty. Did you really hear that? Did I hear that?
It was a great thought, but
it was a great thought. But listen, you're from your eyrie, from your high point on the mountain of Olympus. You're telling us that the referee that it wasn't good last night.
Last night, Ron. You know, firstly, UTV coverage was so bad. You know Giles, the link man.
Oh yeah.
You
know Johnny Giles.
No, well, at least he was. No, this isn't new TV. Adrian.
I'm sure, Adrian, you were very, very good. And in the absence of seeing the stuff, I think for both our sakes, we tell you,
Rowan,
well done.
Trust me on this.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Maybe. Yeah.
It was horrible. There was no passion.
Oh.
There was bland, and they wouldn't call it. They won't call. I mean, there was the penalty that Brazil got. Fred went down like right side Fred, right? I mean, if that had been out the field, the referee just would have looked at him and says, "Get on with it," right?
Yeah,
so, but they need Brazil to win these matches, and then you start asking yourself, "What's going on here?" Right?
And what's going on maybe is if Brazil don't win the matches, it can extrapolate out onto the streets.
Well, that's the other possibility.
That's the other possibility.
But look, that's got nothing to do with what happened in the park last night. The referee hadn't a good game. I thought he was very, very one-sided. Brazil then they got the third goal, which is Oscar scored the third goal, and it was a super goal. It was absolutely super. So Brazil anyway, they march on. Now that I suppose the next interesting one from us is going to be England and Italy, and they're playing up in the rainforests. So England have got all their stuff done, all the warm training done. They went into all these tanks, they went into everything and all that. I reckon Italy beat them 2-1. That's just what I think on that one. You know?
Where are you taking me next?
I'm going. Look, I wanted to.
The golfers are doing all right, aren't they? Well, the Northern Ireland fellows. Yeah. McElroy and was it McDowell were back in the clubhouse ahead of all the others and content. There were some very nice eagles and birdies.
Well, You see,
How are you in the Eagles and Birdies?
well, I just find golf spoils a good walk. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong. I enjoy it when you're in the latter end of the competition. But the news that the Open is coming to
Yes.
Portrush is a phenomenal thing. You know, that to me, that's brilliant. The last time it was here, you were only, I think, 10 Ron. So
Yes, 50. Yeah, that
60
was 50
years ago.
It was 50.
Yeah. So
yeah, you're close enough.
if that's true, and it'll be probably
It seems to be true.
it's going to be
actually.
coming here in 5 years' time.
Yes.
It'll be brilliant. And golf is a massive thing. So Rory will be hitting his third. He'll be around about 30 there. So he'll be absolutely in his prime. And
He seems to be doing well, having got the affairs of the heart off his chest.
Rowan, you see, there's an old thing about the
Women.
affairs of the heart and trying to play a football.
Just
or
listen to it
golf.
here now. You're hearing it
You
here,
know.
right, Damien?
It never affected me. You know.
But I mean, he's demonstrably doing better without the woman.
Look, you see, at his level, there's an awful lot of things going on behind the scenes that we would never hear about and what's happening and all that. And then, you see, maybe the sponsors is involved in this too. Who knows, you know? But, you see, this brings me to another story that I want to talk about. And Joe Brolly, you know who Joe Brolly is?
Yes,
Joe does a little article in the Gaelic Life every
Fabulous
week.
barrister.
Yes, and a great writer. And I have to say, I do enjoy him. But he had a good article this week. And he talked about basically professionalism creeping into the GAA. And
Long overdue, of course.
well, fair enough then. That's another argument we can sit here for a week on. But there was a little team over in the Gaeltacht last week.
Yeah.
And they played in the Gaeltacht. And after the match, they decided, look, well, let's go out to Spittle, go into the sea, get into the sea water and cool down. So that's grand. So all the guys go out to do it. And then they're coming back and they spot this old farmer out cutting his turf, turning his turf. So what do the boys do?
They help him.
They pull the bus in, every man, Jack, manager, the whole lot, out, and they torn the whole field from, right? And they done that in about an hour, right? So there you had 30 odd lads out helping this old man who they never met before, knew nothing about him, and they had a great time. Now, could you see Arsenal, the Liverpool players? Could you see the Dublin players? Let me say, even doing that, right? So to me,
Donegal is special.
but to me, that tells you what the GA stands up for. So
And certainly that, and not the fisticuffs of Cavan
yes,
and
but
Armagh.
which got the biggest news item of the week?
Well, I saw a full third or second page in the Irish News talking about the Donegal fellows.
That's right.
Yeah,
But in many- but in many pages-
having said that, the media stands guilty by simply orchestrating the ongoing tsunami of bad news.
Correct,
That
yeah.
It's a story should have been done, finished, put to bed,
That's right.
ended.
That's right.
It didn't happen.
But you see, and you were in the media a long time, Rowan, and bad news is good news.
My philosophy was always, there's no such thing as good news. There's no such thing as bad news. There's only news. And you deal with it as news. And I would have done that story, finished with that story, but then in editor side, various desks all over the land would have said, now we need to go back to that. Where can we take that story today? Find out what their grannies thought about it. What does the head of the Scouts think? Blah, 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 blah,
But you
blah.
see, another thing that really, I suppose, irks me a little bit, you know, the BBC take the moral high ground on the so-called brawl in Armagh, right? But yet they couldn't see it upon themselves to take that match and put that match out live.
Yeah, but
right?
there is the obscenity of BBC and UTV, and maybe it happens in the south of Ireland with RTE as well, of expensive outside broadcast camera coverage of Saturday afternoon football matches in Northern Ireland with somebody called Linfield playing Crusaders and whatever, and you have 16 people in the stands looking on.
Okay.
Why is that money being spent? That's my license money and I don't want it to happen.
You hit the nail on the head. Absolutely, perfectly true. There was 16,000 people in Armagh last Sunday. 16,000 people. And look,
And you were on BBC, yes? You had the full match coverage, did you?
No.
UTV full match coverage,
No,
did you?
no.
RTE full match coverage,
No,
did you?
no.
Now, how many people were at the Oval the previous day on the Saturday?
Well, if it had been on, probably there would have been about 300.
300 at most.
So,
Yeah,
you see,
it's appalling.
yes, it's a fair point, and that's something that the BBC have to, you know, they come out with this, you know, a flippant response in the media this week of why it isn't on. We tried this and this. All baloney. Absolutely all baloney.
Can be done if they want to do it.
Of course it can.
Ours is the art of the possible, always.
Anyway, they wouldn't do it as good as we would have done it anyway, that's for sure.
What about the woman? What's her provenance in Sky coverage? No, she's eye candy. There she is. That's why she's there. Joe Brawley's right. But she's not there because she has a provenance in covering GAA games.
Well, okay, but she knows about the GAA, right? She would have a fair grasp of what the GAA is, right? So she's an equestrian. She was an equestrian athlete.
No, that's polo, not hurling that they play on the backs of horses. For goodness sake.
Well, I mean, like, there's lots of guys out here would play soccer and play rugby and would know Gaelic football, and the other way around. So I have no issue with her because she does a good job.
I don't either.
I think she's good.
But
I haven't seen Sky's coverage yet, but you know, we did speak. Is it a good idea? And there's a wee bit of a dilemma with me because the professionalism and Sky, what Sky brings. Sky isn't in this for the benefit of GAA.
No,
There's no question about that.
no.
Sky is in this to make money. And once Sky, I can tell you this, Ron, if Sky had shown that game last week and that bit of a brawl in the mall in Armagh took place, right? The Sky would have been all over it because Ron, everybody, and I don't care who you are, secretly we all like to see an owl bit of a schmozzle, right?
Goodness gracious, is it any bit of wonder the world is coming apart at the seams when a man, a son of the soil of Armagh, sits here and says he loves Vian? What can I say to you this morning?
It's not that, but it's the inner thing in us, and you know, if there's an owl bit of a brawl, you'll watch it, and like, there was nobody hurt. There was absolutely nobody hurt. Okay, your man broke his own hand for trying to punch somebody in the top of the head. Tough luck. But I just think Sky, you know, what they're bringing today, even seen RT. Now, RT are bringing in little things up on their screens that Sky would be at, right? But RTE, you know, they wouldn't be happy with Sky's in there. No. Now, I have since learned that if Sky hadn't have come in and done that deal with the GA, those 14 games that they're going to be showing wouldn't have been on television anywhere.
Yeah.
Now, here's the good one. Armagh will be in Sky in their next match.
Wow.
So,
how are they going to be on Sky in their next match?
Because Sky's covering it.
Sky are covering their match.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll be sailing into the clouds.
Of course, it bears mentioning that before Sky, Destination Newry was earning its spurs by sending GAA live coverage to the world.
Yeah, we did talk about this a couple of weeks ago on the Saturday Sports Show, on the Monday Night Sports Show, and what we were doing was groundbreaking. There was nobody else in Ireland had ever done that, and it is now starting to catch on. I see Wexford have the Wexford County Board have a new thing set up.
Armagh should stick to the football. They know about that. Wexford should stick to the football. They know about that. They should not be delving into broadcasting, which it's taken me 60 years of my life to find out about. They think it's like going out to buy an onion. It's not.
It's not.
It's a complicated, very precise business, and they should stick to the football and let us get on with our broadcasting.
And of course, like with the lads behind the scenes here and the new dynamic young lads that are very keen.
Great to see them.
Well, they're very keen to learn, and you know, like, remember, these guys are cutting their teeth with seasoned cameramen, seasoned engineers, you know, the length and breadth of the country doing.
Yeah.
These are young, they're coming in, and you see, the thing about youth, Rowan, it fears nobody. They fear nothing, you know. And as I say, we have the easy part of this, because we just sit here and we
do you know what I want to do? It's coming on me now, and I really do want to do this. Are you all right for this? Put your mic down, will you? Can you get your mic off for a minute? Sean, you get bring my music, because you might have to cut out of this. Hold on a minute.
I don't know what he's going to be doing here.
I'm just taking you up on something here, which I think is very, very important. Are you ready now? Don't worry too much now. Are you ready now?
Hold on, I'll take this off then. So just
Where did that match appear last week in Armagh? It was the grounds, the
the athletic grounds.
athletic grounds. Right, are you ready?
I don't know how long.
Put that out of the
I
way.
know what you're going to do. You're looking to fight, but
Yeah, okay.
No, but all right.